Wolf in sheep's clothing. We've heard that phrase being thrown around once or twice in the auto industry, but if there's one car that aptly fits the bill, it's the Audi RS6 Avant. Combining a high-performance engine, all-wheel drive, and a wagon body, it ticks all the boxes to us car enthusiasts. Today, as Audi celebrates the 20th birthday of the RS6, let's take a trip back through memory lane before checking out the latest generation RS6 Avant that Audi Philippines has on offer. We're here at Audi Global City, where stunning examples of the RS6 are assembled. Now, sadly, the first generation C5 isn't present here, but it's worth noting that that model paved the way for all the RS6 models that followed. Fresh from its repeated success at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, winning the world-famous endurance race in 1999, 2000, 2001, and 2002, Audi engineers sought to transform the A6 into a sports car. The result is the first-generation RS6, powered by a twin-turbocharged 4.2-liter V8, making an impressive 450 horsepower and 560 Nm of torque. It made the same amount of power as Audi's DTM race car and thus sent a message that it's on top of its segment. With a torque converter automatic, this RS6 rocketed to 100 km per hour in just 4.7 seconds. And putting all that power to the pavement is a newly developed dynamic ride control or DRC suspension. After the C5, Audi had to up their game. In 2008, 6 years after the first RS6, the C6 came. This model not only offered an increase in both power and displacement, but also increased its cylinder count by 2. Yes, this one has a V10 under the hood. Packing a displacement of 5 liters, it meant pushing 580 horsepower and 650 Nm of torque. By comparison, this is more than the R8 GT. This V10 engine is a force of nature. The system is designed for racing with its dry sump lubrication, and Audi engineers had to use every centimeter of installation space to cram it in. With this engine, the RS6 C6 achieved a top speed of over 300 km per hour, 303 km per hour to be precise, for the first time with the RS6 Plus. Hardly any other car could touch the C6 on a straightaway. 0 to 100 km per hour was done in just 4.6 seconds. That kind of propulsion needed braking power to match. Enter the first ever ceramic brakes for the RS6. Of course, because it's still an executive car, Audi fitted it with the DRC suspension to give passengers a sporty yet comfortable ride to their destinations. As with its predecessor, Audi kept this model visually subdued. Protruding fenders set it apart from the base model, and larger wheels and tires, 19s at the front and 20s at the back, offered the only obvious visual clues. And whereas the C5 was all assembled by hand, the C6 went to the production line. Fewer cylinders? That can't be right. That's the only criticism you can level against the third generation RS6, launched in 2013. Dropping the V10 in favor of a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, it was the smallest engine in the history of the RS6. Yet, critics were soon silenced. Audi has put together a package that left the previous models far behind it in terms of both driving dynamics and efficiency. Using aluminum in a significant portion of its body, this RS6 Avant dropped as much as 120 kilograms of weight. In addition, thanks to an engine that's mounted a bit further back, the front-to-rear weight distribution has been improved. Audi Sport engineers made it clear that dropping 2 cylinders and some 20 horsepower did little to harm its performance. With 700 Nm of torque, it needed only 3.9 seconds to reach 100 km per hour, half a second less than its predecessor. It also had 30% better fuel consumption too. Talk about having your cake and eating it too. By this time, customers wanted a bit more comfort, so air suspension became a standard feature for the first time. Despite the initial criticism about the reduced power and fewer cylinders in the C7, it was precisely this generation of the RS6 that became a bestseller and market leader in the high-performance station wagon segment. It was a top position that its successor still holds today. Finally, we move on to the newest generation of the Audi RS6, the C8. Just 3 years before its 20th birthday, the fourth generation RS6 rolled out and stayed faithful to its heritage. Still adopting a 4-liter bi-turbo engine, it now makes 600 horsepower and 800 Newton meters of torque. Also, for the first time in its history, it comes with a 48-volt mild hybrid system, improving its efficiency even further. So now we're going to be taking a closer look at the latest generation RS6. And joining us is Paulo Brambilla, the General Sales Manager of Audi Philippines.
Hi, Uli.
Hi.
So what we have here today is the latest RS6. No? Audi engineers basically ticked a lot of boxes in, designing this vehicle. Of course, one is the looks.
Yeah.
Of course, you see its brute looks from afar. Of course, they put in practicality in mind. Family man that wants, comfort for the kids as well, family, but still has that performance. And of course, performance. We are talking about a V8 Avant.
Talk to me more about the design. I've heard that this is different from the usual wolf in sheep's clothing that kind of defined the previous RS6 models.
So some people say that this is just an A6 but with more power. But it's a different body. So again, the front doors, the roof, and the trunk are basically the only parts that share with the normal A6 Avant. Everything else is different. Even the headlights, of course, the wheel arches, even on the rear. So it's a totally different, redesigned vehicle.
Paulo, actually, I noticed that the headlights is one of those things that's kind of unique looking to the RS6.
Yes.
Can you describe what kind of technology does it have?
Yeah, this is one of Audi's latest design headlights. It comes with a laser, we call it laser tech. So what it does is basically if you're cruising on the highway, it would give you an extended range of your headlights. Kumbaga, it would extend it to about 600 to 800 meters.
Okay.
So it gives you, more visibility to see the road up ahead. Kumbaga.
You did mention that the headlights are now projecting their beams 600 to 800 meters ahead of it. And I think that's very important because this car can go really fast, right? Can you talk about more of the engine?
Correct. The engine of this vehicle is technically it's basically the same as the V8 as the predecessor. They're both V8s, but this one has a new turbo. It's a bigger turbo, and they up the bar pressure to 1.2. So resulting into 600 horsepower and 800 Newton meters of torque. That is 40 horsepower more than the previous gen RS6.
Wow.
And 100 Newton meters more torque than the previous RS6.
And that's not all.
Yes.
Apparently, this one has also undergone some sort of electrification, right?
Yes, it is also equipped with a 48-volt mild hybrid, which would assist you in fuel efficiency with regards to, let's say, you're coasting. The engine would shut off, and you would run on pure battery power for about a minute, less than a minute, 45 to 1 minute.
Okay, and of course, I'm sure people will be very curious to this. What kind of performance figures does this car have?
Okay, manufacturer's rating, it gives you about 0 to 103 to 3.6 seconds.
Oh, that's like a supercar level.
Yes, but if you do it with the launch control and the temperatures are perfect, we've seen it on 3.4 seconds.
Nice. So say a 4-door, a huge trunk, and 3.4 seconds 0 to 100.
Yes, that's an Avant with basically the performance of our regular V10 R8s.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so I guess we have to take a look at inside and see what this car has to offer.
Sure. Take a look.
Okay, so Paul, I did notice that although it has the virtual cockpit, it kind of looks like different from the other Audis that I'm familiar with.
Yes, being in an RS, it has a totally different virtual cockpit, design, especially on the cluster, because it has the RS mode, RS1, RS2 mode. Well, it has the normal drive select mode as well, if you want. It has different modes such as efficiency, comfort, auto, dynamic. Well, if you want to drive it like a normal A6 and feel that comfort of a regular sedan or Avant, it's easily achieved because the car has the dynamic ride control suspension. So once you're in the city driving, it could give you really good comfort. But if you click it on, let's set it to RS mode or dynamic, You know, it would give you a totally different feel of the suspension, steering, engine response. So you can set it the way you want to drive the vehicle.
Wow, nice. So it's like having like a 2-in-1, or like having your cake and eating it too, because it can be a car that can drive everyday traffic like Metro Manila and stuff, but at the same time, if the roads open up, you can also drive it as fast as you possibly can.
Correct.
Right?
Once you set that RS mode, you can hear the pops and bangs of the Audi Sports exhaust system as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Of course, most people do get a station wagon because of its space. So I guess we got to check
Sure,
that one
let's
out.
take a look.
Right?
Being an Avant, so of course you get the biggest trunk space available now. This is not far off from our SUV, the Audi Q7. It's just about 100 liters different. This is 565 liters of boot space.
And that's with the seats up, right?
Yes,
The rear
correct.
seats
You
up.
can
Okay.
even fold the second row for more. As it is, you can easily fit 3 golf bags in it. So, you know, for people that, you know, do adventures, put your dogs here if you want to. That's how the Avant is designed, basically.
Well, I guess that's perfect, because at least if you're going to go to the golf course, you can bring up to 5 friends. So at least you can load all of their golf clubs in it, right? Yeah, that's awesome. Great, great. Well, thanks for giving us a tour, Paulo.
No problem.
Right.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For 20 years, the Audi RS6 blended immense power with the practical all-around characteristics like no other. Indeed, it makes for the perfect companion for just about any purpose 365 days a year. Now, I'd like to wager that the latest RS6 is Audi Sport's best effort to date, but the work is never done. We certainly look forward to what they come up with next. For now though, you can check out the Audi RS6 right here at Audi Bonifacio Global City.